Daisy here. So I just thought this would be a perfect opportunity for me to introduce myself to you as well as upload my first IGTV video. So, you're about to find out who I am, where I came from, and how I got to be here. So I grew up in Wasilla, Alaska. Growing up in Alaska, you deal with a lot, and one of the biggest things that you deal with is anxiety and depression. I mean, it's hand in hand, especially with the seasonal affective disorder. That shit is real, y'all, and I struggled with that shit my entire life. I struggled with weight my entire life. Both my parents were bigger, so I just thought I was genetically predisposed to be bigger. Bullshit. Not a thing, but I thought that way. That's how my mindset was working. You know what I mean? So I dealt with anxiety and depression my whole life. When I was 17 years old, I met my husband, or what was going to be my husband, Patrick. We had a whirlwind romance. He showed me a whole new life, a whole new world that I'd never seen before. He showed me drugs. He showed me partying. I mean, we partied for probably a year and a half, and then I found out I was pregnant, which is a godsend because I always say that my son Grayson saved my life. I was down a dangerous road. I was headed down a dangerous road with cocaine, and he definitely got me off of it completely. So I've been clean for 14 years off of cocaine. So exciting. After Grayson was born, we got married and we moved to Colorado. Patrick started working on the rigs, so that allowed me to stay home with Grayson. But what came with that was I was in a new state, I had a new baby, and that means I stayed at home by myself all the time. I didn't get out, I didn't socialize, and this is when I hit my peak of 305 pounds. I tried gyms, I tried trainers, I tried everything to lose weight, I tried diet pills, every fad diet out there. Y'all, I've tried it, and let me tell you, none of that gimmick shit works. It just doesn't. My depression reached a peak at this point. It didn't help in 2008 when my dad passed away suddenly after a double knee replacement surgery. My depression deepened. In March of 2009, I found out I was pregnant with my second child, Blue, which is a good thing. She's just as loved and just as wonderful. I was depressed at the time, so it was hard to accept the beauty of what was happening to me, but I've obviously come to accept it, and I love her so much. Patrick and I had a tumultuous relationship, though. Although I had gotten off drugs and I had been clean, Patrick unfortunately wasn't so successful. He dealt with a lot of alcoholism, and the problem was that even with one drink of alcohol, it was a Jekyll and Hyde situation. So he would go from the most loving, caring person I ever met in my entire life, still to this day, one of the most loving and caring people that I'd ever met, into a complete and total fucking psycho, like with one sip of booze. It was an insane difference, night and day. It was crazy. So that our relationship really struggled with that. I did my best to try and make it work, but there was one night where I was scared. I was scared for my life. I really thought that that fight was going to be the one that was going to end my life, and so I decided to call it quits. About a month later, I got a call at work on New Year's Day. It was his little sister, and she asked me to come home, and that's when I found out that Patrick had killed himself. You want to talk about a hole in your heart. I have never, ever, ever felt a pain like that before in my life. I would rather have someone continuously punch me in the chest for 10 years than go through anything like that again. I still say to this day the hardest thing about that was having to tell our son that his father had passed, that Daddy wasn't coming home. Still the hardest to deal with today. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry, but I always do. So following his suicide, I got diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I was prescribed Xanax. And so for the next 6 months, that's all I did. I drank, I popped Xanax, and I smoked weed. I did anything I could just to not feel, I didn't want to feel anything anymore. I'm gonna tell you what, depressed people can put on the fakest fucking smile in the world because nobody knew. I mean, everybody obviously, they had an inkling that something was wrong with me, and they figured it was just my grieving process and this and that. But y'all, I was seriously suicidal. I was seriously suicidal. After about 6 months of dealing with that and dealing with the pain and not being able to numb it, I tried the same thing. I dumped half that bottle of Xanax in my hand and I just downed it. I obviously was a failed attempt, thank God. I thank God somebody was looking out for me that day. I don't know how long I was in bed, but I remember getting up and driving over to Patrick's mom's house, and she took me to an acupuncturist, and he put a needle right here. And that hurt like a son of a bitch. But he told me, oh good, that's the one. And he said, leave it in there for 15 minutes. And so I did. And after about 10 minutes, that thing stopped hurting. And the whole fog and everything that I was living in had just lifted. And I haven't taken a Xanax since. And I'm so proud of that fact. I'm so proud of my fucking self for that. So fast forward, you know, I dealt with alcoholism. Just because I wasn't taking Xanax doesn't mean I wasn't drinking. Yes, I was. I drank heavy for about 3 years, and I have all the crown bags to prove it. I call myself an alcoholic until about February of 2018, and that's when I decided to make a mental switch, and that's all it was. I decided that I wanted better for my life. I decided that I didn't want to live behind the bottle anymore, and so I decided to change. I decided to start eating better. I decided to start working out. And you guys, guess what? My mental health recovered. I mean, it has been such a 180 for me. Just by working out, just by moving my body, and just by eating the things that I need to be eating, my body recovered. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm healthier than I've ever been. And it's so incredible to me, the difference. And like I said in the beginning of this video, I had a predisposed conception that, oh, okay, well, I'm destined to be big because both of my parents were big. Yeah. I even have baby abs. What? Baby abs? That is so crazy. So I just want you to know that no matter what anybody tells you, no matter what you actually feel or actually believe about yourself, you can do whatever the fuck you put your mind to, okay? All you have to do is fucking believe in yourself and go after it. Set your goals, dream bigger than you've ever dreamed before, make a plan, and go after it. Okay, you guys? That's all I got for you today. I'm so glad you joined me, and I thank you so much for following me and watching my IGTV. I hope you guys have an awesome day.